Hello and welcome to Getting Started. My name is Paul Smith. I'm one of the co-founders and co-directors of this incredible opportunity. You may be asking yourself, well, what's it all about? Well, it's about giving you security. Only today, there was news out on the internet that a very large online opportunity has had the doors shut on the distributors. People can't access their websites, and apparently it's under investigation. Now that is what we've found with our time on the internet. We've been online ourselves since 2000, and we've been in companies that are here today and then just disappear overnight. And the industry is littered with companies that have just vanished. And an awful lot of the people that have been involved in those companies have really worked really hard to make it become a reality for them, but ultimately the company failed and let them down. Well, we wanted to create a company that was a little bit different. So because of our extensive background in conventional network marketing and our knowledge of online marketing, we wanted to bring to the table a product and a service that had solid foundations, and a company that would be here many years from now. So we built into it, one of the key requirements of any longevity into a program is a pay plan that delivers long-term reproductive residual incomes. You see, if you haven't got a residual income built into the pay plan, then you haven't got any stability, no longevity. So that was a fundamental part of our program. Now what I want to do is just give you a little bit of background on myself and where I'm coming from and what it's got to do with training. Well, I was dragged along to an opportunity meeting in the very early 1990s by a very good friend of mine who sold me a farm that we owned in Canada. He didn't really tell me much about what it was to do with, but he just told me that there was a very important meeting taking place in our local town, and would I be his guest. So I had nothing to do that evening, and I was taken along to this meeting. When I got to the hotel, I saw something that interested me. I've always been interested in nice, expensive, fast cars. And outside of the front of the hotel, there was a red Merc 500 SL and a silver one, the 500 SL again. And at that time, those cars were relatively new, and to see two new ones parked next to each other, I knew there was something of interest taking place at that hotel that evening. So I sat through a very interesting presentation, and at the front of the room, towards the end of the presentation, the guy doing the speech brought up a friend of his who was from Toronto, and now we were in Manitoba, and this guy had flown in that evening to help out with the presentation. And he gave his little story about what he'd experienced with the business, and it turned out that he'd been making over $27,000 a month for the September of that month, and I was there in the December. So it kind of piqued my attention. I've never met anybody making that sort of money out of home-based business. Well, at the end of the presentation, they said there's going to be a short break and there'll be a quick start training that would take place after the once all the guests had gone. And for those that are interested, they could stay to learn how to do the business. So I stayed back and went through this quick start training. Well, it wasn't a quick start, it lasted an hour and a half. But boy, did I get an education. And what I found out has changed my life from that point forwards, because I found out that there was a real system, a real business, and a way to create what we call duplication. And duplication is the key to making residual income, because if you can show somebody the principles of making money once and teach them how to do it, they then could teach that to somebody else, and you would get paid ever more for teaching that person. And that all made sense. And so this system that they'd created had come from the old company of which was called Amway. And all these guys had come out of the Amway organisation and moved across to this new company when it had entered the North American marketplace. And they brought with them their training. Well, I've used that training now for the last 20 years, and it served me really well. Well, anyway, put that to one side. My sponsor that took me to the meeting that night, he drove me home, and he said to me at the end when he dropped me off at our house, he said, "Well, Paul, what did you think?" I said, "It's absolutely fantastic." And that's when I knew that I was literally going to change my career from being a farmer to being a networker. But what I didn't realise was how successful I was going to become in those first few months, and how the training that I'd learnt that evening was going to propel me into some very significant growth and income earnings. And that's what we're going to bring to the table with our company. We realised that if we could adapt and just adapt the principles and the trainings behind what we had back then to our company, they'd adapt really well. Well, I've used that principle with 3 other companies I've been in since I was in that first original company, and each time we've adapted them, tweaked them a little bit, and put them to use, and they've served us really well. So we've brought it to our company now, and we've had the benefits of being able to shorten it a little bit, because some of the stuff we used to do we don't do anymore because of the internet and communication. But in essence, it's the same training. So we found that if you implement the training and set it in stone, and people follow the training through to the conclusion, as it were, it takes people from the beginning of their journey in the company right to the end. And all we ask you to do is follow the training to the word, and you won't go too far wrong. So we're going to run you through 8 different modules. Follow the modules through, and I think you'll find yourself very well sort of schooled by the end of the modules. And we'll start with module 1.